Have you guys heard of Trash Island?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Well, I'm gonna show you guys a picture, if you haven't, and you could consider this pretty much Trash Island. And Trash Island is located between Hawaii, which is right here, and California. Trash Island is created because of a gyre. A gyre is a vortex or a spiral, so a spiral vortex that collects trash. It's usually located when ocean currents are met, so like cold water and hot water, warmer waters meet, they create currents, so allowing trash to collect in that area. The closest gyre, like I said, is between Hawaii and California. So imagine our oceans just starting to get like this, pretty much. Our oceans are starting to get really polluted, and the number one pollutant in our ocean is plastic. Because of all this pollution, today I want to describe the harmful effects of dumping trash in our oceans and how it affects the organism, ocean water, marine wildlife, and humans. One of the effects trash has in the ocean is on the water itself. Okay, plastic is not biodegradable, so it starts to turn into smaller pieces. The word biodegradable means it does not dissolve, so it just gets smaller and smaller. Since it's not biodegradable, sorry, repeat that. Since it's not biodegradable, microplastics contain water, making them look murky or some type of soapy looking stuff. Microplastics get smaller than sand. So if you go to the beach right now and you pick up just sand, a handful of sand, if you look very closely, you might find microparticles, microplastics, sorry. Due to all the contaminated water, marine life is also affected. Marine wildlife is affected in 3 ways. Entanglement, like the sea turtle right here. This is considered an entangled sea turtle. Over 250 marine animals have been known to become entangled on common items such as fishing lines, fishing nets, like that turtle right there, trapping bands, and 6-pack rings. Up to 7.9% of entanglement have been discovered in some species of sea lions. Since plastic is not biodegradable, it can continue to trap animals and kill after years due to difficulties of breathing, swimming, and eating. So, have you guys seen dolphin tail? You know how like the tail is like cut off? That dolphin actually had a chance to live because they had people helping it. But if it was left in the wild, it would just end up dying because of our fault, technically, because we're the ones polluting our oceans. The second would be ingestion. The second way would be ingestion. According to Dr. Jane Andrews, Van Franker, around 97% of swimmers have plastic in their stomach that affects them in chemical and mechanical ways. Birds, fish, and mammals can mistake plastic for food. Turtles eat bags thinking they're jellyfish because turtles are one of the only animals that actually eat jellyfish, and they just think it's a jellyfish and they go up there and just try to bite it, and because of that they feel full. Since they ate a piece of plastic, they feel full and they could die of starvation. Debris may cause choking and injuries, and with plastic fillings in their stomach, animals may feel like they're starved. Feel like they're full and eventually end up dying of starvation. So this bird right here, let me try to fly real quick. So this bird here, is full of trash, if you think about it. It died of starvation because they ate all that plastic thinking that it was full. The third example of the effects it has on animals would be transportation of invasive species. Invasive species are non-native to the region and take over due to the ability to adapt in rural or rare areas. There's a significant increase in the opportunities for the transportation of alien species, allowing them to become invasive. 60% of debris carries non-native species into new locations. Because of the consumption of marine products and such as fish, people are also being affected because of all the waste found in the oceans. Have you guys been to the, well obviously you've been to the beach, right, because we live in California. When you walk around, do you ever see like nails or like glass just on the floor? And have you guys ever stepped on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks, right? That could be one of the ways we are being affected. Plastic particles enter the food chain through microplastics. So fish see microplastics and think of it as food. They go up there and they just eat it up. It goes into their system. It starts to dissolve, releasing chemicals into the fish. And we eventually end up consuming them. One of the effects, or some of the effects that consuming fish with chemicals are, it could cause cancer, diabetes, alternate immune system, and development problems in children. So this baby right here may have cancer, diabetes, or development problems because of the consumption of foods that have chemicals in. So today I've talked about the harmful effects of dumping trash into our oceans and the effects that it has on the animals and on humans. As you can see, there is a big issue with the way we get rid of trash, and instead of throwing it away, go out and recycle, because that's the big pollutant in our oceans, and since it's not biodegradable, it just harms not the ocean itself, but it also harms us. And since we're the ones doing all that, we could reverse the cycle.
Can we get the light back on? Thank you. All right, Melissa, what did you think?
I thought that it was a good topic because I enjoy going to the beach and I would hate to see the beach get destroyed by trash. You started off with your introduction with a story which was good. I like that you introduced it to the trash island or whatever. And then I got a little lost in the thesis at first, so that was a little confusing. Your transitions could have been a little bit smoother, and I couldn't identify your sources or your statistics. And your conclusion was a lot more clear than your thesis, which was good, and I kind of recovered. Your visuals were good. I liked them. You were able to show what you were talking about, and your performance. You were obviously a little nervous. The paper was a little distracting. She could have done no parts.
All right. Yeah, at the beginning, Irving, you used that sort of a rhetorical question, sort of an audience survey. It's a little bit awkward. I think that it could be a little bit more interesting. I like the visual that you have at the beginning. I think that you ought to be able to say something about that and make it a little bit more intriguing and involving at the beginning of the speech. it's almost as if you're starting off by saying, well, here's my topic. And it doesn't feel very graceful. And you've got a subject that's important to you. You've got some good information. You've got some warnings that you're going to give us. I think you set that up pretty well at the beginning of the speech. I just think the lead-in needed to be a little bit stronger. I didn't have a problem with your purpose statement. I thought the purpose statement was very clearly stated, and you had a very good preview of what the structure was going to be. In the body of the speech, I could usually tell where you were. There were some times when I didn't think the transitions were as clear as they needed to be, so I would agree with Melissa on that. Sometimes felt like suddenly we were in another point, and I could recognize that we had changed. I'm just not sure where we had made that change at some point or other. Sort of like suddenly realizing there's a song on the radio and going, wait, what happened to that other song I was listening to a second ago? Because there wasn't any separation between them. I'd also agree with Melissa. I didn't really hear a lot of source citations in the presentation. And so I don't doubt that your information is accurate, but you want to enhance your credibility and demonstrate that you really do have research that's backing up this material. I don't know how big a problem this is, how widespread it is. You say, well, maybe imagine the whole ocean like this. Well, I've been to the ocean. The ocean's a pretty damn big place. How long is it going to take to get to something like that? Maybe it's not going to take that long, but it might. It's one of those things. How big is Trash Island? That you mentioned. What's the square mileage or something along those lines? That's some of the information that's sort of missing, and you need to have a little bit more data like that. The basic explanations are fine, and the visuals I think are good. The one thing about the transitions that you're helped by are the visuals. The visuals kind of give us a cue that you're moving to another spot. You are on the one an awful long time, so we do get a lot of information. There was a piece of data that you had in your speech that didn't sound all that impressive to me, and I think maybe you're citing it incorrectly, that you haven't read the number correctly. 250 animals have been killed by this stuff. I'm going, 250, I'm sorry. That might sound a little indifferent. 250 animals out of the millions of animals in the ocean, that doesn't sound like it's a big problem. I mean, a boat runs over that many animals when it goes out. So why is that important? I suspect that there's a bigger number there, and that probably the way you saw it when you did the research, it wasn't very clear to you, because that just doesn't sound like it's the right number. In that situation, I can't say for sure because I didn't do the research, but I'm sitting here listening to it and going, I'm sorry, 250 animals. I like animals and such, but 100 turtles and 100 birds. You get 100 birds in an oil spill dying from stuff like that easily, one time. You're talking about a problem that's supposed to be bigger than that. So, like I said, that's what makes me think that it's a different number, and you just didn't cite it correctly. So, be careful about that sort of thing. The visuals were large and easy to see. I appreciated that. You showed them at the right point. I thought that it was a good move for you to turn the light off so that we could see the contents of the bird, although I'm not exactly sure doing that right before lunch is the best idea, because that's a little disgusting. But suddenly, because I'm looking at it, I couldn't quite make out that image. But it did sharpen up when you turned the lights out, and we could see that a little bit more effectively. So I thought that was a good choice on your part. I'd agree that the pages do get distracting. I think when you watch back, you'll notice that you kind of flip around and get distracted by them. It feels to me, as I'm listening to your speech, like you just need some more practice. You've got the basic idea, you know what you're talking about, but you haven't made it something that you're just talking about and talking to us about it. And when you stand sideways and kind of deliver your speech halfway to the screen sometimes, it feels like you're winging it, and that's probably not what you want to do. You want to be a little bit more engaged with the audience. All right, thank you.